begin with breaking news.
And that breaking news coming from former Vice President Kamala Harris, as she has just announced that she will not be running for California governor, opening up the race for many eyeing the position, especially in the Democratic Party. In a statement today, Harris said, quote, "In recent months, I have given serious thought to asking the people of California for the privilege to serve as their governor. I love this state, its people, and it's my promise. It is my home. But after deep reflection, I've decided that I will not run for governor in this election," end of quote. Thanks for joining us at noon. I'm Lisa Gonzalez. This announcement comes after a much anticipation for her decision to run for governor of California following current Governor Gavin Newsom's departure in 2026. The decision leaving many wondering who will be a lead candidate in next year's election. We have KCRA3 Capitol correspondent Ashley Zavala joining us. This is huge news, especially for the Democratic Party and people who were kind of waiting to fundraise and really get their campaign going.
This essentially breaks a dam that was holding up this race, especially when it comes to fundraising, because of Harris's name recognition, because of her place in the Democratic Party, her fundraising ability. This governor's race was essentially stalled for Democrats at this point as she made this decision. This is the high stakes race to replace Governor Gavin Newsom, who terms out in 2026. You can only serve 2 terms here in California. There is a long list of people vying for this office. Democrats include, but are not limited to, the people you see on your screen here: California Lieutenant Governor Eleni Kounalakis, former Congresswoman Katie Porter, former State Senator Tony Atkins, former U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary Javier Becerra, former L.A. Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa, former State Controller Betty Yee, and current Superintendent of Public Instruction Tony Thurmond. We know fundraising for these folks was mostly stalled as donors were waiting to see how Harris moved. Some were not entirely sure if they would stay in the race if she jumped in, but now we know. So this could be a competitive governor's race among these candidates who at the moment don't have a ton of name ID the way Kamala Harris does in the state. But we bring up Rick Caruso's photo here because this is the other outstanding question lingering in this race. Who else gets in it? We know some are waiting to see if LA real estate developer Rick Caruso launches a bid. He's known as a moderate Democrat. He ran for LA mayor. He's been outspoken since the wildfires in Los Angeles. And we should note, I mean, this race is still a ways away. The primary for this is next June. People are not selecting who their next governor is until November of 2026.
2026, but it seems like those things come up so quickly. And when you're trying to fundraise, you really need to be on it right now.
Exactly. And this is an expensive state to run for governor.
Isn't it one of the most expensive states?
Right. Yeah. I mean, you have LA, you have San Francisco, you have large markets in the state where you need to convince people. That's a lot of advertising money. That's a lot of outreach. It's a lot of geography that they have to travel in order to reach people.
Yeah, and getting out there and shaking hands and doing all of that and talking to the voters takes a lot of time. We're even one of the largest economies in the world, which makes it even that much more expensive to be out here. What does this mean now? Do you think this was something that the other Democratic candidates were hopeful for, or the Democratic Party in general? Do you think they're kind of upset about this, or do you think they're like, whew, okay?
Yeah, I mean, there are 2 schools of thought here. That Kamala would have been a slam dunk, obviously, for Democrats in California. Some people noting that polls had her really leaning heavily in this race, but others who were just not as excited in terms of, some political consultants just weren't energized about a potential Kamala Harris run, because would that mean business as usual, as we've seen in California? Voters in the last election, so we saw several counties turn red for President Trump. I mean, there were a lot of questions about what a Kamala Harris potential governor's campaign would mean. But we know that now this opens up a competitive race among people who don't have the name ID that she has. So it's really, at this point, I mean, it could be anybody's.
And now people who are maybe holding on to those campaign donation dollars can either decide, okay, out of all these Democratic candidates, which one am I going to give that money to? Since Kamala is now withdrawing her name, or just deciding not to run. Let's talk about the Republican side of it. We only have 2 major candidates right now, right?
At this point, we have 2 major candidates. We know Rick Grinnell, who has been part of the Trump world, was basically saying earlier this year that if Kamala did get in, he would get in. It's to be seen what happens with him. But at this moment, we know Riverside Sheriff Chad Bianco and Steve Hilton, who is a former Fox News contributor, commentator. They're both in. Now, neither one of their numbers are necessarily leading in the polls, but it's to be seen if a really big name Republican gets into this race now.
All right, Ashley, thank you so much for breaking that news here on the KCRA 3 News at noon. Again, Kamala Harris deciding she will not be running for governor, and we should note, as Ashley mentioned, the race is still long ways away. The primary is next June, as Ashley mentioned, and then Californians will select their next governor in November of 2026. We did mention those GOP candidates, and so we just want to show you their pictures as well, because this would include Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco and former conservative political advisor and Fox News host Steve Hilton. But again, we want to show you their pictures because we like to give equal time and equal visualization to all of the different candidates on both sides of the aisle. Ashley, thank you so much.